Is it bad if I barely recognize half the actors in this movie? Yeah, probably. Okay, just checking. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Expendables 3. This is the third movie in the Expendables trilogy, mainly headed by Sylvester Stallone. He is the main star of this film as well. A good majority of this movie is just kind of him doing his own thing, going around, and the movie really mainly focuses on his character for the most part. It also stars Mel Gibson as the villain, and Mel Gibson in this role is probably my favorite part of the movie, honestly. He makes a really good villain. He is kind of maniacal. He had the best dialogue, in my opinion. He had the best character, in my opinion. His character is very witty, kind of confident. He just kind of didn't take any bullshit from anyone, and I really kind of like that. Arnold Schwarzenegger is also in this movie, and he actually does a decent job. He's probably the other kind of hero-esque character that we see the most of in this movie. He is kind of Stallone's more or less helper guy, sidekick-esque type of figure. The majority of the Expendables that we see, like the ones that were in the last two movies, we barely see in this movie. We see them at the beginning, we see them at the end. That's about it. And that kind of annoyed me for a little bit, just because it's like, oh, I wanted to see the Expendables as a team working through some situation and taking down some evil warlord or something. Nope. The main plot of this movie is that Stallone thinks that his team needs to retire so that they don't get themselves killed, so that they can have a life and all that stuff. And then he recruits some new kids and trying to take down Mel Gibson, who he thought was dead and now is actually alive. That's more or less the plot. Obviously, it's not going to be that thorough. We're not going to get in-depth character development and all that type of stuff that you kind of sort of want to see in movies, but you know that you're not going to get in this type of movie. This is an action movie. This is a movie made for fans of action movies because it takes all these action stars, old and now new, and puts them in a movie together to use action movie cliches into a movie and give them kind of lines that represent their characters from other movies and use them. There's a bunch of actors in this movie. The new kids, I didn't recognize any of them. I don't know what they've been in, so there's that. And a lot of the older Expendables, like I recognize some from the other two movies, but other ones I just have no idea who they are. So that's my information on that. The three main ones, Stallone, Gibson, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they all do great. The movie is somewhat predictable, however, just because it follows, like I said, action movie cliches, so you know more or less how the movie is going to play out. You know that people are going to unite and stuff is going to go wrong and everyone's going to make it out happily ever after. It runs about 2 hours long, a little over 2 hours, and so I thought that was a little long. They could have chopped it down a tad. It might have made me not yawn at certain points. The dialogue is also terrible in this movie. I started listening for it. Usually I don't really care about dialogue in movies as long as it represents the general plot, moves the story forward, blah blah blah. But in this, I was listening to it, and I was like, this is not that good. Antonio Banderas, he is in this movie. He probably has the most interesting lines in this movie, and that's just because his character is supposed to be an annoying character who cannot shut up. And so he is probably the most comical person in this movie, if anyone. The action scenes in this movie are also really good. It starts out with a really cool action scene. They're just all really executed. This is what the movie is kind of built around, is these big action scenes, which are from other action movies, and just kind of works with that, with these other action heroes. And obviously, because it's an action movie, it does it really well, and I really enjoyed seeing that. Those were probably some of my favorite parts of the film. The movie's also actually somewhat funny. I found myself laughing a few times just in the movie, just because funny things happen, or there are some funny quips of dialogue, and so it kind of works well in that sense. Also, I thought that the new characters, the new action heroes that I don't recognize at all, they all did fine. They kind of maybe set up a potential spin-off or set up something of a reboot sometime in the future. I have no idea where the series is going to go. I know that there's some sort of Expendables coming out. I don't know how that ties into the whole thing. And so, yeah, overall, did I like this movie? I actually did, for the most part, enjoy this movie. Like I said, it is a little bit long, so that kind of started to bore me at some points. But for the most part, the action scenes are enjoyable. If you like action movies and you know what you're going into with this movie, you're going to have a good time. So just knowing that, it's not going to blow your socks off in terms of anything. It's not going to win Academy Awards by any means. But it's a fun movie to go see with friends. kind of like Let's Be Cops was. So there's that. So that's my thoughts on the movie. That's my review. Leave yours down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them. Did you like Expendables 3 more than I did? Did you despise it a lot more than I did? Did you think that Stallone should stop making these movies? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, my good people, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Once again, if you so choose, I appreciate it immensely. And as always, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.